Gamanian. But me do rap to say. For me, send Yama in a minute in Sabacandia. And then one Taptap Send.
Yeah, Ebusian for within the Nakuma Pachua 1. They recommended Taptap Send that mama. And that's how far back. Also, for baby. Diabasa. Our rating so yeah. Our year A1. So, Pian road do Taptap Send. That also is a for Taptap.
You're going to watch a man, son. You're going to watch a gala for say. You are going to near this coffee in here. May and friend for the VR, you will tap at the move you are. Taptap Send in this street.
The tap with the one.
Taptap, and one in a
Piao.
After successfully redefining Accra's skyline with the delivery of the signature apartment, Cape May Properties presents an exclusive unveiling of the tallest residential building in Ghana, offering a first look of Sultan Sky. Sultan Sky, a magnificent representation of the seamless fusion of quality, groundbreaking innovation, and pioneering architectural brilliance. An extraordinary structure set to reshape the concept of upscale living, thanks to its inventive attributes and unparalleled commitment to precision. This master-planned residential development will focus on the building's location, security, privacy, the design's aesthetic brilliance, elevated features in each living space, cutting-edge smart home technology, and amenities beyond imagination, with fantastic residential features which include 24-hour concierge service, a state-of-the-art fitness center, a floating tennis court, a floating swimming pool, a spa, a sky pool, a sky lounge, a movie theater, co-working spaces, kids zone, distinctive lifts for staff and deliveries, private gardens, chef's kitchen, expansive terraces, entertainment rooms, restaurant, and 24-hour security. Sultan Sky, a new perspective in the sky.
So it's good. And there's football all over the place. So we appreciate your presence and being here. The show is sponsored by Taptap Send. Okay. So most of the times, a lot of us normally wonder why. We always talk about how we want to live longer, what will make us look younger, live longer, all of those kind of questions. And we're curious about these things. So today we have got Mr. Elijah, Dr. Elijah, if I'm correct. I think I got it wrong. I think it's Dr. Elijah. If I am wrong, he will come and introduce himself very soon, who's going to talk to us about how to live longer, cellular health. And so basically this forms the basis of, the foundation of aging and vitality. And he's going to tell us how we can do that. So welcome aboard, Mr. Dr. Elijah. I'm so sorry if I've got it wrong.
Dr. Elijah.
It is Dr. Elijah. So Dr. Elijah.
Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Elijah.
Would I have, yes, do I have rights to share my screen, please?
Absolutely. And before you start, if you could just give us sort of like an introduction about yourself, what you do. Just a little bit about yourself so we know you better.
Yes, so the name is Elijah Timop. I'm a London-based pharmacist with a little over 30 years experience. I may not look it, but yes. And I have developed a special interest in nutrition and alternate ways of keeping ourselves healthy over the years. And I've learned a little bit more in that area of science, and I educate people accordingly. And so came across you're speaking, you're on mute. Abna.
Apologies. I thought you froze for a second. I guess yeah, that was my mistake. No, I'm not speaking. But yeah, that's really, really good, and we're glad to have you on the show, and we are very fortunate as well. And the topic is very, very needed and very important. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you while you talk us through.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring up my screen. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Yeah, my buttons have disappeared for a minute there, trying to. Okay.
All right. We can see your screen, so whenever you're ready.
You can see, excellent.
Yes. So whenever you're ready, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so first and foremost, let me commend you for the great work you're doing for our community. Over the years, what I have observed is a lot of our people, and by our people, I mean us Ghanaians living here and many other people of African origin, tend to die prematurely, and mainly due to lack of knowledge how to maintain good health. And so that's probably one of the reasons I took it upon myself to learn a little bit more about alternate ways of maintaining good health. And so I'll be sharing some experiences with you. I must say today's presentation is unlike what you have seen previously, and it's a little heavy on science and probably a little heavy on one company. The reason is that this is the only company in the world which, even after 16 years, remains the only one which has achieved what other scientists, after 20 years of research, gave up on and concluded it was impossible. So welcome once again, and let's get going. Yes, so I'm going to be talking about what is popularly called the greatest or the single greatest health science breakthrough of our lifetime. And we will see why that is the case. Right, so we know that the human body is the most complex communication machine on Earth, and we will see why going forward. Before that, I just want to draw our attention to a little organelle inside every cell of our bodies, what is effectively our energy substations, which produce energy for every cell, called mitochondria. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see some of the functions that mitochondria play inside our bodies. So they are responsible for cell metabolism, which means they metabolize the breakdown products of food that we eat. So glucose, lipids, and amino acids, they metabolize those to give us energy and other bodily functions. They are also responsible for cellular senescence, which is when, through aging, our cells begin to lose their function and unable to multiply and eventually die. At the same time, they are responsible for longevity. So if you are interested in living as long a life as possible and potentially as healthy as possible, then it's your responsibility to ensure your mitochondria are the best they could be. And we will show you how. They are responsible for stem cell fate. Stem cells, we know, learn to divide into any additional cells, really. They're also responsible for something we call autophagy. And this was discovered by a Belgian scientist. And back in 2016, a Japanese scientist discovered how autophagy actually works, the mechanisms. And that is our bodies selectively destroy cells that are responsible for disease processes, so the rest of the body can live a healthier life. So that is what autophagy is all about. Mitochondria also direct tumor immunity. And this is crucial because we know one of the major causes of death is tumors. So if we're able to regulate our mitochondria in the right way, then they can direct our immune systems in a way that protect us from tumors. They also deal with oxidative stress and various forms of cell death. So now going back to the communication in our cells, we know that effectively every millisecond of the body, our cells talk between themselves. And it's estimated that they exchange about 1 million messages every second. And that is how we're able to breathe, we're able to think, and we're able to do so many other things. And one of the crucial things they do is communicate messages of health, healing, and repair. And this signaling impacts every system, every organ, and every function of our bodies. So it doesn't matter whether you are looking at your heart health, your nervous system, your respiratory system, and so on and so forth. This signaling impacts on all of those. So if you look at the human body as a whole, we are made up of organ systems such as reproductive system, digestive system, which are in turn built out of specialized organs to perform those functions. Those organs are made of tissues, and the tissues are all built out of the 75 trillion cells or so. And at the very basis of all of those is what we call redox signaling molecules. Most of you will probably be hearing this term for the first time. I'll try to break it down as much as possible. So it goes without saying that we live and die at the cellular level. So what we know is the average human being can live for about 30 days without food. We can live for 3 days without water. We can live for 3 minutes without oxygen. But we cannot live for 3 seconds without these signaling molecules. So indeed, they are the foundation of health and life. The challenge is as we age, there is a decline in how much of these molecules we produce. It is estimated that we lose about 10% of it every decade. And so by the time we are age 50, we probably have about 50% of the signaling molecules we had as children. And that is why everything slows down. Our ability to heal, repair, and so on slows down with age, mainly because we are producing less and less of these signaling molecules. So to help you understand it better, if you're unfortunate enough that your house comes alight, first thing you do is pick up your mobile phone, dial 999 or your local emergency number wherever you are, and ask for the fire service. Everything would be well and good if your signal is strong, they can hear you clearly, and you can communicate what the problem is and your location. What happens, unfortunately, is because we age and we are unable to produce enough of these signals, our signal level drops. And so I think this is not functioning properly for some strange reason. It's not showing us. Okay, it doesn't matter. We'll go ahead anyway. So if you don't have enough signal, the fire service may not able to hear the message. They can't tell your location. They wouldn't know how many firemen to bring. They wouldn't know how long a ladder to bring, or indeed how much water and other firefighting equipment to bring. And that is precisely what happens in our bodies. What if there was a way to amplify that signal, which is to make your body function like it was supposed to, and especially how it did when we were younger? And that is where this beautiful technology comes in. So it's the world's first and only cell signaling supplement. It is backed by 7 global patents and over 1,000 trade secrets. And even after 16 years on the market, nobody else has been able to achieve what this company has been able to achieve. So there is no competition, no copycats, and we are the only gas station in town. So ASEA makes this supplement using a 3-step patented process. And we know that it's exactly what happens naturally in our bodies. Out of the 75 trillion cells, we know every one of them is effectively a little bag of salt water, because we know the human body is made up of 75% water. And so what this company has done, they've taken pristine salt water made out of 100% pure sodium chloride, which is salt, and then highly purified water. And then when they achieved the expected concentration, they go through process number 2, which is it's passed through specialized set of turbines over 16 hours. And that process breaks it down. This is patented, so we can't share all the details to protect their copyrights. So after 16 hours, it's now broken down into the constituent atoms. So if you understand a little bit of chemistry, sodium chloride is a molecule made of sodium and chloride, and water is also a molecule made of hydrogen and oxygen. So it breaks it down to the individual constituent atoms, and this is where the challenge is. Other companies have been able to do step 2, but not a single one has been able to achieve step 3. So step 3 is when these molecules are now stabilized in a format that it can be put into this bottle for you and me to be able to replenish what our bodies are not making. So the company started with this bottle, which is just the signaling molecules that we drink. And then it took another 5 years before they came up with the first topical version, which is the white tube you can see on your screen. Yeah, so they wanted to know if these molecules are so impactful at cellular level, which is not in doubt. They wanted to know what happens at the genetic level. So Tourette Laboratories was charged with the responsibility of doing this study. And before we go any further, I must say that the ASEA Redox supplement is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illness. That is not to say it doesn't do any of those, but because of the nature of the licensing, we are not allowed to talk about those things. In Europe and other parts, the only things that can be claimed to cure, prevent, or treat any diseases are pharmaceutical agents. And so we are not allowed to claim these things do so, even though the results we get show the contrary. So what they found out was by drinking the ASEA signaling molecules for 8 weeks, 5 major areas of health were positively impacted by anything between 20 and 31%. So what that means is the supplement boosts these 5 areas of health so they function better and more like they did when we were younger. So those include your immune system, respiratory, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, healthy digestion, and hormone modulation. The first 2 alone are responsible for over 80% of all chronic illnesses that we know of. So if you're able to improve those areas by up to 31%, what that means is you are able to fight inflammation better, your immune system works better, your cardiovascular health works better, your digestion functions better, and hormones, which are a big thing as we age, especially in women, you're able to modulate them better. And modulation means if your hormones are low, you can bring them up to normal. If they are excessively high, you can bring them down to normal as well. And so what we are finding is, and they went further by looking at just one of these genetic pathways, called NRF2 pathway. And before we go there, if you look at pathway number 7, for example, these molecules positively impact ovarian infertility. It also positively impacts insulin signaling, as in pathway number 11. And how many people do we know out there who struggle with insulin signaling? They may initially have what we call pre-diabetes syndrome or metabolic syndrome, which if you don't address it early enough, advances into full-blown diabetes. So these molecules have been proven to positively impact on that. If you also look at pathway number 1, which is serotonin receptor, we know serotonin is our feel-good hormone. So if you're able to produce more of it, you feel better and you're probably unlikely to have low mood or depression and so on and so forth. And so this does all of those. Pathway number 10 as well, thyroid function, again, another important area of health that so many people out there suffer from. This modulates thyroid function better. So if we go further into NRF2 pathway, they found out that it influences 15 additional pathways, which we just looked at. NRF2 is known as the body's master switch, responsible for activating the body's native protective antioxidants. So probably until now, you only knew about antioxidants as supplements that we take in by mouth. But our bodies have the ability to produce their own antioxidants. So even without taking anything, and the problem is we lose a lot of that function as we age. And these molecules are able to bring them up back to normal. And so 2 university studies independent of each other looked at this further, and they found out that the body's master antioxidant called glutathione, which is a tripeptide, these molecules increase glutathione by 40% in healthy cells and a whopping 55% in compromised cells. this is significant because if your cells are compromised, which is usually the initial stage of various pathological processes which lead to developing various illnesses. So if you're able to increase your glutathione by 55% in those cells, what that means is you are 55% more able to fight chronic inflammation, fight all sorts of processes that lead to pathological illnesses in the body. And so going forward, we see that this indeed empowers people to feel better than ever before. And it's not just us saying so. There are thousands and thousands of people worldwide who are experiencing exactly that, myself included. And that is why I'm so passionate about this. And it's quite often the missing link to better health and vitality. And it's not just us ordinary human beings. There are significant improvements in athletic performance as well. And a lot of research in this area shows that there is an improvement in endurance, improvement in raw strength, how much physical work athletes can do. And what is even more crucial is if you and me jog for maybe 2 or 3 miles and come back, our bodies, especially legs, will ache for days on end. But these molecules speed up recovery. So if you take it before physical activity and after, you wake up the next morning like nothing happened. And that is crucial indeed. There is one thing talking about what happens inside our bodies, and it's completely different seeing what it does to our only visible organ, which is our skin. And these are professional laboratory photos taken by Dermatest, which is one of Europe's biggest dermatological laboratories based in Germany. And you can see from these, the first image is before using the topical products called Renew 28, and the second image is after, and you can see significant improvements. So there are other things that we could talk about, but for some reason, my presentation is not working as it should. I don't know what's happened tonight, because there should be more things explaining what happens here. But I can talk about it anyway. So the company again commissioned 2 independent laboratories to find out what's happening here. And what they discovered was astounding. They found a 20% by taking these molecules and using the topical version, your skin cells are able to renew themselves by about 16% better than before. And that is crucial because we know when we are young, our skin cells renew themselves every 28 days. And that is why this product is called Renew 28. So as we age, however, we lose that ability. And that is why we begin to develop wrinkles and our skin begins to sag and so forth, showing various signs of aging. So this product effectively reverses that. And what we tend to tell people is, why Botox when you can redox? And whilst Botox may slow down signs of aging, this does the exact opposite. It actually reverses aging because you are now able to do what you couldn't when you were much, much younger. And they also found out that this product increases blood flow to skin cells by almost 50%. And it improves our ability to reduce wrinkles and cellular function in general by so many figures. So we find out how good these things are. And the next thing people do is you ask either your next door neighbor or a healthcare professional you know, what exactly are these signaling molecules? And sometimes people tend to give misleading information, mainly because they don't know enough about it. And instead of opening up and saying they don't, they try to give misleading information. So what we recommend is ask AI, something like Chat GTP. And the reason is AI is programmed to pick the most relevant, up-to-date research information and synthesize it into the most relevant response for your question. And this is an example of what AI says about these molecules. I'll just read the highlighted bits for the sake of time. So it says redox signaling molecules are molecules that play a central role in regulating cellular functions through redox reactions. These molecules help cells respond to changes in the environment and can influence processes such as cell growth, death, stress response, and immune system activity. It goes further to say that these molecules can both promote and inhibit various biochemical processes in the cell, and an imbalance in their concentration can lead to diseases such as cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, or heart disease. We're normally not allowed to say these things, but if AI can say it, why not us? So indeed, this is a new breakthrough in science and is the next big thing. And why am I saying so? Because there is an increase in number of research and publications in various books and journals in this area of science. As we speak, various reputable universities are getting $1 million grants to set up redox centers. And that is because of how significant they have come to realize that this area of science is indeed ace and going to become. And indeed, there have been 6 Nobel Prizes awarded in this area of science since 1998. For the last 26 years, medical doctors have been holding various redox health science conferences in Paris, and they are trying to figure out what exactly is going on here, so they can adopt it in medical science. And as I said from the beginning, this is the company which has been able to achieve the impossible. So even pharmaceutical companies are researching these things, and none of them has been able to achieve what this company has. And so this is a short video about various medical doctors. There are about 3,000 medical doctors around the world who are both using this technology and recommending them to their patients and achieving very, very significant results, even from illnesses that we thought were incurable. They are achieving results that medical science thought was not possible. Unfortunately, because the presentation is not working correctly, the video will be unable to play. But you would have heard directly from medical doctors talking about their personal experiences and what this does to the body. When this company first came up with these products, the scientist responsible for that, a gentleman who has a PhD in medical nuclear physics, said at the time, his name is Gary Samuelson, and you can Google him if you want to know more about him. He said at the time that this technology was 10, 15 years ahead of its time. And fast forward 15 years later, universities around the world are now queuing up to collaborate with the company's scientists. And as we speak, University of Southampton here in UK and University of Bath are one of those who are now working with the company's scientists. So we know that these two main products are broad spectrum. So they work on all aspects of health. They deal with all aspects of cellular health. And so these universities wanted to know if it would be possible to target maybe a very, very narrow area of health. And so they went to research with the company's scientists. And after 3 years of research and development, they came up with the company's newest product, which was licensed a little under a year ago. So redox gold, as it is called, is made up of the redox signaling molecules infused with molecular gold, which acts as a catalyst. And what this does is it targets on pain or discomfort and inflammation. And what this scientist discovered, if you see these thermographic images here, it was done by a laboratory, a medical laboratory, and the before images, which are the top ones, which are the red and purple, are showing angry areas of, I think somebody could mute themselves, please. Or if the host could mute whoever's video is playing. Thank you. Yeah, so the top image is where inflammation and pain is raging. So these parts of the body will be in significant discomfort. And 15 minutes after applying the redox gold, you can see that all those areas are now gentle, cool blue and green images, which means the inflammation has reduced, if not done away with completely. And so people felt rapid relief in pain. What is striking is 100% of the test participants, so every single one of them without exception, felt rapid pain relief after just one single application of Redox Gold. And that is significant. I'm not aware, after over 30 years working as a pharmacist, I'm not aware of any pharmaceutical product which even comes anywhere close as effective as this product. And so we are talking of a breakthrough in cell signaling technology with these three products: the drink, the skin product, which deals with all sorts of skin issues, including acne, cellulite, signs of aging, wrinkles, and so on and so forth. It deals with all of those. And then the Redox Gold, which is the blue tube, which is specific for pain and discomfort. So people who suffer from joint pain, arthritis-related pain, will benefit significantly from this product. But the company also has additional categories of products. There are 4 groups altogether. So we have the traditional supplements, which I won't dwell too much about. They also do a skincare range, which users say is probably the best they have ever come across in a lifetime of using various skincare products. And then we have the performance range in the bottom right-hand corner, which deal with collagen production, because our collagen levels also drop as we age. So it's not just other signs of aging. Collagen levels will also drop. And that is also why our skin starts to look older than we did when we were younger, because collagen helps to keep our skin taut, our blood vessels flowing and open, and so many other things, joints and cartilages, and so on and so forth. And this is the most natural way of replenishing what you are not getting, and so your body is no longer producing sufficient levels of collagen. And so it's only made up of berries, fruits, and vegetables, and is the most natural way, as I said. Because unlike other collagen products out there, which are made out of carcasses of animals and fish bones and so on and so forth, these are actually vegan, where it's broken down to all the constituent amino acids, which our bodies then reconstitute into the collagen that it needs. The yellow one, which I have my very own here, is called Energy, and is the most natural way of boosting our body's energy. I've tried it myself, and I continue to take it every day. If you take just one sachet like this, you mix it with water and drink. From morning, you will have very high levels of energy all the way until you finish work or whatever you are doing. unlike Red Bull or caffeine and those kind of unnatural forms of boosting energy, this does so in a sustainable way. And it also improves our body's natural way of releasing energy gradually over time. So if you take it consistently for some time, even if you miss it, maybe some days or weeks, your body will continue to produce the increased levels of energy until maybe the effect wears out, in which case you may need to continue taking them again. The green one, which is called Mood, is made
I
out
don't
of...
want to interject. I just wanted to say that there's just to say 5 more minutes left of representation, yes, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not too far off. Yeah, so the Mood is very, very good for anything. In fact, we are actually allowed to tell it deals perfectly with low mood, including depression, anxiety, and so on and so forth. And it also aids sleep. So if you take one sachet about an hour before bed, it aids very, very natural, sustained sleep, and you wake up feeling refreshed. The red one deals with anything in the upper floor, anything cognitive. So we know a lot of children out there who suffer from various levels of what we call the spectrum illnesses. So this deals beautifully with that, including various neurodegenerative illnesses. People who take this see significant improvement in their symptoms. So this is like if you imagine putting up a house. Your house is as good as the foundation it sits on. So if your foundation has cracks in them, the house will definitely develop cracks at some point, which, if not dealt with, could eventually lead to a collapse of the building itself. So that is exactly how these molecules work. They are foundational to our cellular health. And so putting them back in makes sure your cells work the way they're supposed to. So these are just slides that we don't really need to hear about. And so I'll skip them very, very quickly. But this is a legacy-focused company. They are based in Utah, in Salt Lake City. And they started in 2009. So for about 16 years, it's still the only one in the world which has achieved this very, very significant technology that everybody above puberty needs. So they have, it is FDA registered, and they have 19 distribution centers around the world. In the UK, our distribution center is in Birmingham, and they are very, very quick. If you order any of your products, you typically receive them within 48 hours. So as we speak, it's only present in 35 countries, which are the blue areas in the world, on the world map here. And that represents about 3 billion people. And out of that, less than 1 million have heard about this. So indeed, there is a significant opportunity for those who may be interested. Yeah, so I'll probably end sharing here and then answer any questions that you may have. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you found it useful.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you did say that it was going to be quite heavy. Yeah, it was quite insightful and very good. So we'll go for a quick commercial break and then we'll be back for the questions. Yeah.
Me did Yantachua, and maybe I'm discovered for Europe. I come a bush for Ghana. No, me used to tap send, tap send. No fee mobile money transfer. Aye easy, aye convenient, aye fast, and sounds so free. Won't you share? Me discover aye map him. Tap send. Intienne. Also download the Taptap Send app. No, ever mobile phone so free. Let us see how come we bush for Ghana for na. Tap send. Papa no. After successfully redefining Accra's skyline with the delivery of the signature apartments, Cape May Properties presents an exclusive unveiling of the tallest residential building in Ghana, offering a first look of Sultan Sky. Sultan Sky, a magnificent representation of the seamless fusion of quality, groundbreaking innovation, and pioneering architectural brilliance. An extraordinary structure set to reshape the concept of upscale living, thanks to its inventive attributes and unparalleled commitment to precision. This master-planned residential development will focus on the building's location, security, privacy, the design's aesthetic brilliance, elevated features in each living space, cutting-edge smart home technology, and amenities beyond imagination, with fantastic residential features which include 24-hour concierge service, a state-of-the-art fitness center, a floating tennis court, a floating swimming pool, a spa, a sky pool, a sky lounge, a movie theater, co-working spaces, kids zone, distinctive lifts for staff and deliveries, private gardens, chef's kitchen, expansive terraces, entertainment rooms, restaurant, and 24-hour security. Sultan Sky, a new perspective in the sky.
Hello, thank you everyone, and welcome back to the OT Health Talk Show. So now we are at the Q&A session, so we're going to take some questions. I will start with the questions in the chat. So Dr. Elijah, I've got a question in the chat, and then we've got 2 hands up, so I'll come to them shortly. So in the chat, I think you mentioned some about what's it called? The ASEA, am I saying it right? And so there's a question here which goes, how do we trust the research information provided, as the research is all carried out by ASEA themselves? And can we say that there may be research bias?
Fantastic question. The premise is actually not correct, because there is a lot of independent non-ASEA related research out there. And as we speak, the products are actually validated right here in Europe. The manufacturing unit is in Utah, as I mentioned, but there is a laboratory based in Spain, BQC Laboratories, which sample every product the company makes, and they also carry out independent research, and pretty much every single one of them validates what the company scientists came up with. As we speak, there is some groundbreaking research which has just come out. At the minute, it's not been published for the public yet, but it's available to those of us who have insider knowledge, and it's profound. I'm sure we're all aware of what COVID did to so many people, and some of the side effects of COVID, as in the disease itself, as well as the vaccine, is myocarditis. This is one product which has been proven in the research I'm talking about to reverse the signs, symptoms, and laboratory signs of myocarditis. And so anybody who probably was unfortunate enough to develop myocarditis as a result of either contracting COVID or getting the vaccine, and that was particularly common in young people, this product has been proven to reverse that. And it was a study done in healthy individuals. It was designed to find out if the product is safe and if it causes any untoward adverse effects. And what they found out astounded them. Nobody expected to see what they found out. 100% non-toxic. And again, that has been validated by a lot of independent laboratories. And the research is out there, which we can also share links with individuals who may be interested. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And then there's a follow-up question which states that a report by McGill University in Canada states that CR is just salt water. And based on what has been discussed today, it doesn't seem like you have said anything different from that. So again, how do we trust these research findings?
Very, very good question. And that is why it's important for us to educate people like I'm doing here today. Because if this was sold in shops, you probably walk into a shop, you see this bottle, spin it around, and the ingredients you see is salt and water, which is exactly what it is made of. But it is more than salt water. And that is because it's undergone some kind of processing, which has led to the development and stabilization of redox signaling molecules. And again, BQC laboratory in Spain has proven that every single bottle of these is redox signaling molecules and not just salt water. And if you are aware how patents are achieved, anything that is natural, including salt and water, cannot be patented. So to achieve not one, not two or three, but 7 global patents on this product should tell you that indeed it's not just salt water. And what's even more is the effect that people get after using these molecules. You don't get those by drinking salt water. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elijah. Dr. Of course, if you've got any more submissions, of course, you can always come on and ask or stay in the chat. So now I'll move on to those who've raised their hands. I'll start with, I'll start with Mr. Baden. I think he had his hands up first. Then we'll go to Auntie Liz. That's how it works.
I think Auntie Liz was first.
Okay, then Auntie Liz. I apologize.
Thank you. I was first. Good evening,
I didn't
everyone.
realize that. I thought it moved that way. So
It's all right, Lady Abna. My hand has been up so long that my question is nearly gone. But Dr. Akos will help me here. Papa, what you're saying is so sweet and nice. I'm sorry I came in a bit late. But if you have that, and people are suffering, and you've gone through all the research, like you're saying, the little they understand after research, the stage 1, stage 2, and then it's approved, then a big pharmaceutical company will just snatch you up and pay whatever it is. You go through, here is NICE, nice, which is sometimes not too nice. If you're able to go through all that, and then it's approved, and it will be used to treat people in hospitals. So how come all the years that you said you've been and all the experiences that you've said you have with people, why is it not in the hospitals treating people? And why are you not, what's the word? Like authorized by, because Europe have their own way of Dr. Kosbebwa Mohan and Ebrofone Sema.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Dr. Elijah, I think you understand what Auntie Liz is trying to say. I think she's just trying to say, why have we not picked it up in the hospitals? And I think why is it not regulated by something like NICE? But I think you mentioned something about how because you've not released what. Anyway, I'll let you answer that question.
Great question, Auntie Liz. Was it Antilles? Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. One of the slides that I left off, which was towards the end, was how this actually came about. It was a father and son who started a company called Strategic Link, and they were helping struggling companies and little startups to become successful. And whilst they were doing that, they came across this small biotech company which was experimenting with these products. And when they understood the science and its potential for humanity, they became interested. So they bought that company and brought in the best team of scientists led by Dr. Gary Samuelson, who I said earlier is a medical nuclear physicist. And he was able to achieve the impossible. So he was now able to stabilize this in a format that it can be bottled up and brought to you and me anywhere in the world. It's stable for up to 2 years. It doesn't lose any of the molecules, and people still get significant impacts. So their aim when they bought that company was to develop the product and sell it to a pharmaceutical company, walk away with their money. But when they achieved the impossible, they approached a pharmaceutical industry, a company which was interested. And the company said, no, scientists have researched this for the last 20 years, and all of them concluded it was impossible to achieve this. So give us samples and we'll go and test them in our own laboratories for 2 months and come back to you with our findings. So the company gave them as many bottles as they wanted. And at the same time, they found 40 volunteers in the US and gave them as many bottles as they could, because that was the only product at the time, and asked them to take it and feed back their findings. So after 2 months, indeed, the pharmaceutical company came back and said, yes, you do have redox signaling molecules, and we are very interested. In fact, we will pay you several times your asking price, but on condition that you stop sharing the product to people, you destroy all patents, and keep quiet for the rest of your lives. But the 40 people who were taking these felt so much benefit that within that 2-month period, they started sharing it with their family, friends, and other people around the world. So by the end of that 2-month period, instead of 40 people in US, it was now 135 people in about 35 countries around the world. So the two owners, father and son, saw the benefit these people were enjoying. They thought, no, we can't take this thing away from these people. And if this company is going to destroy it, because they know the potential in destroying or dealing with chronic health, which is effectively how the pharmaceutical industry survives. So they said, no, we couldn't do that. So they said no to the payout and yes to people, principles, and all the good things out there, which is why we still have this product here today. The pharmaceutical company was going to stop it because they've got the license, they've got all the patents, nobody can make it, they will destroy everything, so it doesn't come to you and me. So the company decided to market it differently without selling the rights to a pharmaceutical company. And that is why it's not out there. Another reason is for it to be licensed as a medicine, there is something that pharmaceutical agents have to undergo before they're licensed as medicines. And one of the things they do is they have to be proven to be effective in whatever area of health is targeted at. And they have to be able to determine what we call the lethal dose. And so that will inform what the maximum dose of the product is. This doesn't have a maximum dose because people can drink as much as they want. It doesn't have any toxic effects whatsoever. And the more you drink it, the more your cells are able to produce these molecules. And so they are able to resolve a lot of things that we didn't think were possible. And once your cells become healthy, you are made of 75 trillion of them. So you become healthy as well. So that is the reason why it's not available as a medicine and as a pharmaceutical agent. I hope that answered your question, Aunt Liz.
Yes, thank you, but let's leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Liz. Thank you, Dr. Elijah. And last question, we will go with Dr. Baden. Well, I'm not sure. Baden. Is it Dr. Baden?
But you miss me. I'm the one.
It is Dr. Baden. Yes, I do. It's been a long time. Please go on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And thank you once again, Dr. Felix, for your presentation. I have a little bit of disagreement, but I'm not trying to disprove what you are saying. I'm just trying to share my opinion one way or the other. I know people have already asked questions and stuff, but this is my little thing I want to say. My question will be very long, will be left of a story, so please pay a little bit of attention for me, please. Yeah. Now, whilst you were giving your presentation, my mind was cut back way back in my days in medical school, first year, second year, where we learned about necrosis and then apoptosis. And what I know is that necrosis can be reversed, but apoptosis can be reversed. In a simple form, it means that when you have a necrosis, it means the cells are still okay, using drugs and stuff can be regenerated. Now, with apoptosis, it means that the dead are completely dead, and so the organ can be reversed. Now, you made once again during my days in medical school. I remember from first year to third year when we were asked what the difference between an acute disease and then a chronic disease. In our first year to third year, we say, acute disease is from 1 day to 2 months, 3 months, we are marked right. Now, we say a chronic disease is a disease that has prolonged for a long period of time, more than 6 months. Now, from our 4th year to 6th year, when we give the same answer, I remember my teacher said, no, we are now doctors. From 4th year, we are now doctors, so he won't accept that answer. He said, now, a chronic disease is when the cells are okay. Now, but with a chronic disease, the cells are dead. It means it can be reversed. So they are trying to still let us know what we learned in our first year to third year about chronic disease and necrosis and stuff. Now, this is my question. In your presentation, you made mention of skin being wrinkled, and by using your drugs, our skin can come back as normal as a kid. As you said in the presentation, I was particularly listening to you. Now, I am not someone into dermatology, but what I learned, the field I learned is that there are several ways our skin get wrinkled, and then one of them is what we call the intrinsic aging. Now, with the intrinsic aging, it's when the collagen, as you said, it's when the collagen get reduced. Yes. I'm someone that believes in the Bible as word. We know that while God created us, there will be a lifespan for every living body in this world. Mm-hmm. Now, my question is, are you telling me that by using your drugs, this intrinsic aging, which is produced naturally, can be reverted back to normal?
Fantastic question.
This is my question.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. It's not just me saying that. It's what the research finds. And even not only the research, there are plenty of testimonials out there. And I can share the testimonial site for people to see for themselves. We are effectively seeing things that we thought impossible. You mentioned our body's inability to make sufficient levels of collagen as one of the reasons that we have signs of aging. And we saw what the ASEA redox molecules do at genetic level. So we know that if you are familiar with the science of epigenetics, you know that we can now actually influence how our genes work by doing certain things. And this is very much an epigenetic agent. And the results are out there, as I said, and it's also proven in various researches which I can share with you. And so many medical doctors, over 3,000 of them around the world, have embraced this technology. And they are not only using it themselves, they are sharing it with their patients and achieving significant results. I personally don't typically use the topical stuff, but I know personally a lot of people who do. And if you see the changes in their skin, reduction in wrinkles. In fact, there is a lady who is, she's also a medical doctor, and she's Norwegian. The name is Reidun Bjørn, who is affiliated with this company. She did some remarkable research on what happens to blood cells when you drink this, and the results are amazing. She herself is aging a bit, and her face and neck were quite wrinkled in a very significant way. After just 21 days of using this, the neck looks completely different in the after picture. And she's allowed us to share her pictures. In fact, it's part of the presentation, but because my thing didn't work properly, you couldn't see that bit. So yes, you are right to be skeptical. I was myself initially, but once I started taking it, what I felt personally made me think twice. And it's not just me. We have Felicia here, Amma, who is also using the technology. If those of us who know her story, Felicia, at some point, sorry, my battery is dying now. Yeah, so I'll continue talking.
Yeah, so as you said, please, I am not like skeptical about what he said because I am someone into health as well. Like I can be skeptical, but
Yes.
my main reason is that we are trying to. It seems like what we studied, maybe or what we are being taught is trying to contradict itself, and then we are trying to also like beat nature one way or the other. That is my only concern.
Absolutely.
But talking about drugs being work or drugs about research, I can be skeptical because I'm a health person myself. I can be skeptical about research.
Yes.
Just trying to trying to beat nature, and then what we've learned, trying to like contradict itself. That's my only concern.
Yes, and rightly so. It's something, if you heard from the beginning, our bodies produce these molecules natively, naturally, and it's exactly identical to what is in this bottle. And the body does so by breaking the same sodium, chloride, and water to make those molecules. And so what we are doing is replenishing what our bodies are unable to do enough of as we age. And this is as a result of stress, modern day living, pollution, and ingestion of toxins, including medications. And it's been proven that medications, some of them actually fasten signs of aging. And if this is able to increase the levels of the molecules that our bodies produce naturally anyway, and by drinking this, it's kind of restarts your mitochondria to actually naturally produce more. And again, that has been proven through various research publications. And so you may be right in thinking the company is attempting to play God, but I don't see it that way. Because if we take medicines to improve our health, and this is a more natural product, which does the same things and sometimes even better than pharmacological agents do, then I don't see that being a problem.
Okay. I think like people have a lot to say, but because of the time and everything, I will just try to play with our coach or with the organizers. If you can get like part 2 of this presentation or whatever, I'll be much appreciated.
Yes, I agree. I mean, today has been, thank you all for showing up. I mean, today there's football everywhere, and there are people who probably want to, still patronized and came. And I definitely agree with the part 2 of this to probably come back, Dr. Elijah, if you don't have a problem to come back. I was also going to say, is it possible to make available sort of like maybe a link to some of these researches that you've been mentioning, that we can kind of go to? And most importantly, where can we find you in terms of like, are you on social media, or how can we contact you, if we want to?
Absolutely. Yes. I will share the links with Dr. Akos, and she knows how to propagate them to everyone. She also has my contacts, so you can find me through Dr. Akos. So I'm ever ready whenever you need me back. I will make time for that.
Fantastic. I definitely think a part 2 is needed. Thank you for the time, to taking the time in to come and explain the science behind this very important cellular sort of health. And
I think just before he goes, just to mention, I think a few people are interested in where you can actually get the product. So if you just sort of quickly touch on that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So the product
and how much, please?
Are not marketed via what we call direct sales. So you either have to register with the company or get them via somebody who is registered, like myself and Amma. There are so many people in the UK. It's growing faster than anybody anticipated. Yes, because people are getting the results. And so if you want to get the products, you can reach me or Amma, and we will help you obtain them. We'll also guide you how to use them correctly.
Fantastic. And I think there was the question here on how much.
Good question. We'll leave that out for now. If you're
okay, so they should come to you first to ask for the product, and then we can talk numbers. Okay.
Okay.
Well, your representatives here, so you can either go to Auntie Amma or Dr. Elijah, and Dr. Akos will share all the necessary information with us in due time. Again, a massive thank you to everybody who has showed up. All 20, I think at some point we had 27 and now 25 of you when there is football going on and England is playing. I don't know if there are any English supporters here, but I mean, whatever the case might be. Men love their football. So to sacrifice the time to come in here and to spend this time, we are very grateful. And thank you so much, Dr. Elijah, for the time, making the time to come out and do this with us as well. And like Dr. Baden said, we'll definitely have to arrange a part 2 for this. So thank you in advance for that as well. I will not keep you all too long. I would just like to say a big thank you to everybody. Tomorrow, same time, same link, a time with Taptap Send. A time with Taptap, yes. And then on Friday, same time, same link is Ask the Lawyer. Have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic, what's it called? Yeah, rest of your evening. And for those of us Ghanaians, go Ghana. Go Ghana.
Go Ghana. Go Ghana.
That's at 12. Don't miss it. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
All right, we are going to hear Ghana. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone from Ghana. We had some people join from Ghana. Thank you for joining.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Auntie Amma.
Thank you, Auntie Amma.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Elijah. Always on point. Well done.
Medidi ya nyantachwa emre bia mdiska be free Europe akoma ebusuafo wo Ghana no me use tap send no fee mobile money transfer. Eye easy, eye convenient, eye fast, and sounds so ye free. Won't you she? Me discover ye map him. Tap Send. Intienne. Also download the Taptap Send app no ever mobile phone so free. Na first ka come we busuya for Ghana fa na nyina. Taptap Send. Papa no.
Hello. This is Lawyer Wisdom of Wismart Solicitors. Join me this and every Friday on OT TV from 8 to 9 p.m. for all your UK immigration matters. I hope to see you there. Thank you.